Welcome to the deep dive. We've sifted through a really significant stack of sources from October 22nd and 23rd, 2025. It's a huge snapshot of global events. And our mission today is, well, to cut through all that noise for you.
Exactly.
We're distilling the key insights, geopolitics, domestic volatility, and some fascinating breakthroughs in science and tech.
And what the sources really highlight is a world, full of tension. You've got this incredible speed in tech and finance clashing right up against the inertia of traditional governance.
Right, like trying to steer a speedboat with an old wooden rudder.
Precisely. We're tracking some high-stakes drama, especially around energy, but also seeing deep stress points within countries.
Okay, let's dive in. Where's the biggest headline, the fastest moving piece?
I'd say it has to be the geopolitical stage, specifically the major new U.S. sanctions targeting Russia.
Okay. That hit the wires hard.
It did. Top global story. The U.S. imposed pretty significant new sanctions. We're talking Russia's two biggest oil companies, Rosneft and Lukoil, plus subsidiaries.
And the context. This follows Moscow's recent nuclear drills, right? And the ongoing war in Ukraine.
Yes, exactly. That's the backdrop. But the stated rationale is interesting, too.
What did they say?
U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent explicitly said it was because President Putin wasn't honest and forthright with President Trump.
Huh. So that was the official line justifying it.
That was the line. And President Trump, for his part, he called the sanctions tremendous.
Tremendous. Okay.
But what's really fascinating is how fast that sanction lever gets pulled, and then how quickly the ripples spread.
Right, it's never just about the two countries involved.
Never. And this leads us straight to India, which suddenly finds itself right in the middle of this whole energy standoff.
Yeah, this part gets really interesting for you, the listener, because the signals seem, well, mixed.
Definitely mixed.
President Trump keeps repeating these claims that India is going to massively cut its Russian oil imports. He said aiming for nothing by year-end.
He called it a process and a big thing.
A big thing, but nothing by year-end. How realistic is that?
Well, here's the context from the sources. Currently, nearly 40% of India's crude imports come from Russia. 40%.
Wow. So asking them to cut that to zero in, 2 months?
It's a monumental ask. It's not just politics, it's infrastructure, logistics, finding replacements.
Exactly. Where would they even get that much oil that quickly and at a comparable price? Is Trump being aspirational here, or is this actually possible?
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? What we do see is immediate impact. The sources say Indian refiners are already reviewing their Russian oil contracts because of these new U.S. sanctions.
So the pressure point is working.
It seems to be. The U.S. has gained leverage. But the economic fallout for India could be huge unless they find alternative, cheap, readily available suppliers, like yesterday. It's a tough transition.
Not just flipping a switch.
Definitely not.
Okay, so beyond the sanctions and the energy drama, the U.S. is also making other diplomatic moves that seem almost contradictory.
It does seem that way. On one hand, Trump confirmed he's meeting China's President Xi Jinping in South Korea.
And the topic is specifically the Russia-Ukraine war.
Specifically that, suggesting, a push to get Beijing involved in finding some kind of resolution.
Okay, so involving China.
But then contrast that with the confirmation that the U.S. has not approved Ukraine's use of long-range missiles.
Which implies?
It implies Kyiv might eventually be pressured to trade land for peace. That's the subtext many are reading.
Yeah, it's a heavy implication. Land for peace.
Immensely weighty. But interestingly, NATO Chief Rutte actually praised Trump's efforts towards peace in Ukraine.
So the pressure for a settlement might be coming from multiple directions, regardless of the potential concessions.
It suggests that, yes, the push for some kind of end is there, even if the terms are difficult. It's this rapid-fire diplomacy, hard sanctions on one side, pushing for talks that might need painful sacrifices from the other. A real tightrope walk.
A global tightrope, yeah. Which needs, ideally, stable partners. But let's pivot now to look inside one of those key partners, India, because the sources show significant internal volatility.
Absolutely. We shift from the global stage to domestic pressures. First up, the political battleground in Bihar. The state election is coming up fast.
Right, and the opposition coalition, the Mahagathbandhan, the Grand Alliance.
That's the one. Reports say they've reached a consensus, projecting Tejashi Yadav as their chief minister candidate. A formal announcement is supposedly imminent.
Okay, so trying to present a united front, that's standard pre-election playbook.
It is, but how united is it really? Other sources paint a very different picture.
Yeah.
These reports allege the coalition is already imploding, claims that 50 leaders from the RJD, a major party in the alliance, have quit.
50 leaders, why?
They're alleging a betrayal of backward classes. It highlights these deep factional struggles, often rooted in caste dynamics. It shows that declared unity can be pretty fragile just before voters go to the polls.
So political turbulence on one hand. What else?
The environment. A crisis that just won't go away. We're 3 days post-Diwali, and the air quality in Delhi and the surrounding region still severe.
Still severe. Yes.
Authorities are advising people to stay indoors as much as possible, limit outdoor activity severely.
It's an annual tragedy almost. Does anything seem to be working?
Well, the efforts are there controlling stubble burning, traffic, but they just aren't keeping pace with the seasonal factors, and the scale of the aftermath is just huge.
How so?
Get this. The Municipal Corporation of Delhi, just in its post-Diwali cleanup drive, collected 3 metric tons of used diyas.
3 tons of those little clay lamps.
3 metric tons. It's just one small data point, but it really connects that huge cultural celebration directly to the massive logistical and environmental burden.
Yeah.
All while the city chokes on smog.
That paints a stark picture. A really stubborn crisis.
The definition of it, year after year.
Okay, so with all this domestic focus, the election stress, the pollution crisis, how is India engaging internationally? Specifically, the upcoming ASEAN summit.
We're seeing a kind of strategic split, actually. Prime Minister Modi is confirmed to attend, but virtually.
Virtually, why?
The timing clashes with ongoing Deepavali celebrations back home, so prioritizing the domestic calendar.
But they are sending someone.
Yes. The External Affairs Minister, S. Jaishankar, will be attending in person in Malaysia. So they ensure high-level diplomatic presence, but, the PM attending virtually. It inevitably reduces the prestige a bit.
Right. Balancing domestic needs with global engagement.
Exactly.
All right, we've covered global pressure, domestic volatility. Let's shift gears completely now. This is where we look at that tension you mentioned earlier, the world speeding up versus grinding inertia. Our knowledge nugget blitz.
Okay, let's start with acceleration. Computing power. Big news from Google.
What have they done now?
They've announced a quantum computing breakthrough, codename Willow.
Willow. And the claim.
CEO Sundar Pichai is hailing it. Says it's officially surpassed the capabilities of current supercomputers, a potential game changer for really complex problems.
Wow. Quantum leaping ahead. Meanwhile, up in space.
Uh-huh. Earth's apparently got a new temporary buddy, a quasi-moon.
A quasi-moon? What is that?
It's an asteroid named Arjuna 2025 PN7. It basically shares Earth's orbital period, taking about a year to go around the sun alongside us.
So it's like shadowing us.
In a sense, yeah. It's temporary, cosmically speaking, but it's a cool reminder of how dynamic our solar system is.
Okay, from quantum speed and quasi-moons. Let's hit the brakes hard and talk inertia. Let's talk methane.
Right, methane. Hugely important greenhouse gas responsible for maybe a third of global warming.
We know it's bad. What's the new angle?
The tech angle is actually good news. UN satellite tracking has gotten way better. We now have near real-time satellite visibility on major methane leaks globally. We can pinpoint them.
Okay, that sounds powerful. Pinpointing the leaks so we can fix them.
That's the hope. But here's the devastating insight, the inertia part.
Uh-oh.
The sources confirm that companies and governments, they're only acting on about 12% of those alerts. 12.
Wait, only 12%? We know where these major leaks are, this stuff heating the planet, and we only act on 12% of the warnings.
That's what the data shows. We have the precise info, the location of an existential threat, but the bureaucratic and corporate response. It's 88% inert. That gap, that's the story.
That is deeply concerning, that governance gap.
And that inertia isn't just environmental. Look at the financials.
Don't tell me. The U.S. debt.
Yep. Just topped $38 trillion for the first time ever.
$38 trillion.
And the speed it got there, it marks the fastest accumulation of $1 trillion outside of, a pandemic emergency period.
The acceleration is just relentless.
It is. And it's happening alongside serious worries about the AI bubble.
The massive investment in AI right now.
Exactly. The concern is it might not just hit stocks. It could jolt the wider U.S. economy if or when it bursts.
And the human cost of fueling that race.
Stark. Reports of AI workers putting in punishing 100-hour work weeks, 100 hours, trying to win the next phase of the tech arms race.
Okay, so just pause on that contrast. 100-hour weeks building AI, while we have an 88% inaction rate on fixing known major methane leaks.
That tension, it really captures the moment, doesn't it? Speed and paralysis side by side.
And we even see this kind of disconnect in, well, high-stakes security, like the recent Louvre heist.
Ah, yes, the jewel theft. What's the nugget there?
The museum director confirmed something pretty basic. Their fancy, multi-million-dollar security system. It had a blind spot.
No kidding.
No camera covered the specific wall where the thieves broke in. Modern tech defeated by a simple lack of coverage.
So, all the sophistication, but they missed a fundamental. Where to point the camera.
Basically, yeah. It's a fascinating modern echo of how high-value items used to be stolen.
How so? Compared to what?
Well, contrast that camera blind spot with the history of the famous Regent diamond, called the cursed diamond.
Okay.
It originated in a mine in southern India, spanned empires, was apparently smuggled out hidden in a shoe.
And eventually ended up set in Napoleon's sword hilt. The drama back then was physical stealth, cloak and dagger stuff.
Right, smuggling it in footwear.
Today, it's finding the digital or physical blind spot in a complex system. Different methods, same goal.
That's a great contrast. Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up, we've seen a world really pivoting on energy sanctions, wrestling with intense internal politics, and just accelerating technologically at breakneck speed.
Yeah, the common thread is definitely that growing gap, that chasm between speed and stubbornness. Sanctions force rapid change, quantum computers break barriers, debt explodes upwards.
While governance and environmental crises just seem to crawl along.
Exactly. They move at a painfully slow pace in comparison.
So the final takeaway for you, the listener, is maybe this. Everything's moving faster, generating bigger opportunities, but also faster, bigger risks. And considering that speed, Google's Willow, $38 trillion in debt, accumulating so fast, the question becomes, how long can our traditional ways of dealing with things, slow diplomacy, incremental environmental policy, how long can they actually survive?
Before they're just completely overwhelmed or redefined by the sheer force of the technological and financial pressures they're trying to manage.
Yeah, actually. How long before those pressures force a fundamental change in the approaches themselves? That's the question we'll leave you with.